Welcome to another episode of Farming 263. Today we are in Manure Park where we're going to meet a farmer who's going to tell us about rabbitry farming and also a lot of things that we're going to learn today. So stay tuned for more information. Thank you. Hello, how are you?
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So my name is Deidre Mkaza and I would like you to introduce yourself to our viewers.
All right. My name is Tony Chiggs Jr. Based in Manure Park. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so before we get into what you're doing, I would like to know a little bit about you. Like, what made you venture into farming? Did you study farming or something like that?
In a nutshell, I can say for me, farming is a passion because nothing really from where I come from, be it my educational background or family background either, none of them are really involved in farming. So for me, I can confidently say it's actually more of passion than anything else.
That's really good.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm seeing here that we have rabbits.
Correct.
And I have no idea about what rabbitry farming is. So I would like to understand, like, in general, what is rabbitry farming?
People actually are just used to rabbit rearing. But like what you mentioned, here we're not actually doing most professional farming. So with the actual term now farming involved, there are certain factors that we actually consider or at no koshesa when doing rabbitry. So to start with, like this is actually our primary goal here. Here we're focused into genetics. So it's not just a matter of kutoenda kumusha muona kune tsuro tongotora uya nadzo utenda kurima tso. Right, it really doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Now it's actually more of a genetics game. So yeah, so we start from actually identifying the commercial breeds because there are many breeds when it comes to rabbits. Yeah, we have the New Zealand whites, we have the New Zealand reds, New Zealand black, we have the California, we have the chinchilla, cinnamon, English spot, checkered giant, just to mention a few.
Okay.
So they are actually now breeds which are considered to be farm, to be commercial. So for example, in rabbitry farming, we have three main breeds. Although maybe other fellow farmers can beg to differ, but from experience, I think I recommend mostly the New Zealand white. Why?
Okay.
Because of its traits and its gigantic size, if I may say.
Okay,
Right.
so while you're still on breed, I would like to understand, like, you as a farmer, which breeds do you have and why that choice of breed?
As mentioned, yeah, we focus on commercializing with this whole thing. So we actually focus on the New Zealand white, California white, or some just call it the Californian breed, and the chinchilla.
Okay.
So maybe for those who may actually not know, speaking about the New Zealand white, it's actually this one. Let me try and get it. Okay, this is a big one.
Okay.
This is an average of almost 6 kgs.
Wow.
5 kgs. Though an average of this should just be just over 4 kgs. But like I mentioned, yeah, we're into genetics, so we need to make sure. Yeah, so this is a New Zealand white rabbit. Pure white, as you can see, with pink eyes. Right, so it's a nice and also our favorite. So this is a doe. By doe, we're saying this is a female rabbit.
So does it not bite?
Not even. Very friendly rabbit. Just that you need to handle it properly.
Okay.
So this is how you actually also handle the rabbit. And then at times, because of its size, you can also support it.
So that it doesn't weigh
It doesn't
down.
fidget. The moment you gonna hold it like this, it will actually start fidgeting, as you can see. Right. So preferably you should hold it like this.
Okay. Okay.
Becomes
So while you're talking about handling, just the same way you did,
Yes.
does it not stress the rabbit or something like that?
If you handle it properly, because you have to hold it at a point whereby it's balanced. That's why I actually don't recommend it for you to hold it on
With its ears.
ears, because it's now like you're putting 5 kgs on the ears alone. But if you hold it somewhere here, it'll be balanced. Right.
Okay, as a commercial breeder, right? And you mentioned the breeds that you have.
Correct.
What are the advantages of those breeds? Like, why the choice of breed that you have?
First thing that you noted with these, for example, breeding stock is size. So we're concerned about growth rate. Because like you mentioned, farming also has money involved. So with money, we factor in time. With time, we need rabbits that grow up
Quicker.
Yes.
Okay. What about the breeding rate? Like, I don't know. Do we say rabbits get pregnant?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So like what you mentioned, if you do it properly, commercially, each rabbit can give birth to an average of 6 times per year.
Oh.
If done properly. So 5-6 times each rabbit per year.
That's
Why? Because a rabbit only it only becomes pregnant for about 28-32 days. That's 1 month. So we have this system that we use here, which we call month in, month out. So we're saying this month is pregnant, the next month is giving birth and giving milk, to rearing the other babies. And whilst it's still doing that, it's still mated in the same process.
oh.
Right, yeah, these are some of the things that we now teach our students, because we also offer trainings, and whatnot. So for people who actually wants to venture into this,
into
so these are some of the soft skills. Of course, they may not be written anyway, but through experience, these are some of the things that we've managed to garner and actually learn about the rabbits as well.
Okay, so in my own knowledge, the little knowledge that I have, I understand that when it comes to, animal farming, there is need for food so that they can grow, and there's also need for adequate water. So while we are at rabbits, what kind of feed do you give, like, until like from birth till they grow to a certain age?
Rabbits mostly they feed on hay, like what you can see here, if you can see.
Yeah.
So since this is now commercial farming, I understand how people grow up to giving them tsine, the blackjacks, what else? The regular greens. But I was saying this is now commercial. With commercial, there's a lot of factors which are involved. There's also commercial food, if I may say. So this involves rabbit pellets. Rabbits are supposed to eat rationalized rabbit pellets per day, and they should always be hay. So to make this actually more proper, I don't know if these guys can see, we actually make use of some type of feeds, which we supply as well. Yeah, we supply all these hay baskets and these rabbit pellets. So they feed on pellets, which we put in these tins, and some hay. Hay is just so normal, but it has to be dry.
Okay.
So they feed on hay, pellets, and clean water. So I'm sure you cannot see any tins. The cages, which we also supply, comes with nipple system. So as you can see, this one is actually drinking water.
Oh.
Yes. So they feed off nipple system. They drink their water from the nipple system, water which is just stored in this water tank. Yeah.
So when it comes to pests and diseases, what are the common diseases that we have?
Like any other poultry or business, rather, of course, there are some insects which are involved. But number one advantage, or which actually what other farmers should adopt, is this type of cages. Not only are they durable, but they also help to fight against insects and other diseases. Why? If you look at this type of cages which we use here, there's a lot of ventilation, which is crucial because of the urine. Rabbit urine is acidic. So you'd not really want a situation where the rabbit mixes with his own urine, or rather his own manure. Right. So you need these self-cleaning cages, which is really, really important.
Okay.
And they should also be big enough so that the rabbit can stretch, they can exercise and stuff like that.
Okay, I'm seeing
that aside, of course, even after this, a few of these diseases will now be left. For example, we have what's called ear canker, a bit of bloating, which can primarily be caused by feed, though other factors are also involved. But comparing rabbit to other projects, I'll be frank with you, these have minimum diseases. Yes.
Wow, that's really nice.
Correct.
And then I'm seeing on a cage here of like names. I don't know if these names.
Okay, I haven't. This isn't accurate.
Okay.
But what really just happened here? This is part of me just being a record keeping.
Okay.
Because
okay,
like with any other livestock, there's an element of inbreeding. Like I said, here we mostly supply breeding stock. For fellow farmers who want to expand into different ventures, be it for meat, also for breeding and whatnot. So we are mostly concerned about our breeding stock, what we're going to be giving our farmers, genetic-wise. So when we supply, for example, females, we need to make sure they're not the same family with males. So that's why we do a lot of record keeping here, tagging our rabbits, noting when the males and the females come from and whatnot, and to also track their records. But no, so it's easy for us if you actually make use of these record keeping and tags.
Okay, so you have told me about breeds, you have told me about the time frame and everything. But let's say, for instance, I want to start rabbitry farming and I have no idea where to begin. Would you give us like a step-by-step guide on how to do it?
Okay, so if you want to start rabbitry farming, I think the most crucial things is before you go to the housing and whatnot, is the genetics that you'll be getting. So like I mentioned that time, we have 3 commercial breeds. The New Zealand white, the California. Let me actually show you. I showed you the New Zealand, right?
Yeah, you did.
So these are my babies. It's my next generation of breeding stock.
Okay, hi babies.
So this is a California breed. So this one's fidget. So California basically is pure white and with black ears. So at this age, for example, they're still called winners. They're still babies.
Okay.
Right. And then we have the chinchilla. Chinchilla basically is gray in color. This is what we have here. So let me show you this one. So remember, I said this is how we hold the rabbit.
Yeah.
So this is a chinchilla of a 4 kg.
It's giving me a side eye, bombastic side eye.
4 kg.
Okay.
So this is what matters the most. Breeding stock, the quality of stock that you have. Yeah, so genetics matter. So you need to get rabbits from authentic breeders out there.
Okay, while you're still on breeding, right? You showed me 3 different ones, right?
Yes.
Now, my question goes on to say, these 3 breeds, obviously each breed has an advantage and disadvantage on it. So for a starter, when I'm starting a project, I want something that has less finances and less problems. So which ones among the 3 would range?
Also, like I mentioned, there are many rabbits. And at times it depends on the farmer, but like I said, I'll put these 3 in a bracket. These are commercial breeds, so they don't differ a lot.
Okay.
But like you asked as well, for me, New Zealand white is the best breed.
Okay.
Why? I'm saying for me, because of course some may tend to differ because of their own experiences. But even if you Google, if you check the stats and whatnot, New Zealand white. Why? Because of youth growth rate. Average, a rabbit should take 6 months from being born up to the stage of giving birth. Only 6 months. That's number 1. So they can give birth to an average of 8 babies per litter, right, at one go. Average of 8, 9, 10, depending on how well they'll be filmed. I have some farmers though who can testify to 12 kids in one batch, right? So let's say it gave birth to 8 kids. We're saying in a period of 6 weeks, these will now be weaned. By weaned, I'm saying they'll be detached from their mother, right? And then they repeat the cycle again. And these babies, like I said, they'll also be able to give birth in the next 6 months. 6 months. So by the time this gives birth to the babies will be ready to give birth, this mother maybe will have produced another 2-3 batches again. So you can tell how they quickly, multiply.
Yeah, they have a high rate.
So now imagine maybe you have a 10, 12 or 20 capacity breeding stock, which I would not actually advise. For example, I actually get this question like quite a lot from people who actually want to start good chicks. How best you start? And I've a simple answer every time. You start from where you can, right? For me, because that's how I started also. I didn't start up like this with all this piece you're saying, because now we have an average of 20 breeding stock, this circuit alone, and over 100 rabbits. Fine. But for those who want to start, I would say maybe for me this was my sample case. So you may start with something like this, which we can sell you around 280. So for 400, I can say you can safely have a safe start. From cage, an average of 6 winners and other accessories which we may have to give you with hay baskets and the feeding.
So you're saying $400 I can start my rabbitry project?
Correct.
Okay.
From a 6-compartment cage, which looks like something like this. Yeah, and your winners, of course, you'll be selling the winners.
Okay, so what's the capacity for one compartment?
To answer that, for example, I'm sure you can see in some of our cages there's 1 rabbit, some there's 2, some there's 3, just depending. So how it works basically is rabbits can accommodate each other to a certain stage, but once a rabbit is ready for breeding or use, be it a male or female, in rabbit we got a back or door, you have to still stay in a single compartment. For example, from like what you are seeing here, this is a breeding stock, so they can no longer accommodate each other. Even if you mix them, they fight.
Oh.
And also ideally for record keeping, when it gives birth or when you mate them, you'll be able to identify, you could know, I've mated this rabbit of mine. For example, this is my gire. I use my bag code Shatunga. Okay, this will be right. This is accurate as well because I haven't updated this.
Okay,
so you need to be right. But whilst they're still young, they can accommodate each other. So we're saying like the cage that you asked me, each compartment can safely hold at least 4 winners in each compartment. And we're saying it's a 6 compartment, so that's an average of 4, 8, 12, 24.
So there are still other rabbits there?
Yes, you can come. You can come. I can show you. This is something I'll talk about later.
Okay.
We have a batch of chickens here. But yeah, this is my other winners. You can come. And then these are other type of cages which I mentioned that time. So this is a breeding cage.
This is a small rabbit.
Yes.
It looks like it's dead.
So what? So it's probably sleeping like that. So you can come.
Okay.
So this is like part of our breeding cage. So this is how it looks like. You come and see when it gives birth, we have small babies in here.
Are the babies in there?
Yes, that's what they make use of what's called a nest box.
Oh, so are you the one who puts those like white stuff?
Yes. No. It removes on its own. It's called feed. So what you just have to do, you have to know when it's going to give birth.
And
then
you just put the box.
5 days so that you'll be able to create its nest for the babies. So there's an average of 7 babies. Yeah, there were 8 initially, and then we stepped on 1. So we now have 7 kids.
Who stepped on it? The mother?
Yes. I think Kakabuda, I don't really know what happened. I wasn't around at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sure you can see how this cage is different from the cage that you saw there.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. You now need this type of cages. It's called a breeder cage. So it just depends basically on what you're doing.
Oh.
So this is our breeding stock. This is the nipple system which I mentioned. This is how they give water. So it's just a nipple system.
And so how long do you change the water? Like
you don't change it; it just finishes.
Oh.
They drink it, then all just have to do is replace.
Or you just have to refill it when it finishes. It doesn't matter like if it takes 2 days, 3 days, you just have to. Oh.
And then that's the bit that was set up. That's some of our cages, more of different breeds, the winners. I showed you the breeder cage and whatnot.
So you mentioned that if one wants to start, they need like $400 for everything, right?
People start from where you can. You can
I understand.
1,000, but if you think you want to start minimum, the budget that I recommend, I think $400 would be okay.
Okay. So you mentioned $400 for everything.
Correct.
What about when it comes to the
feeding?
Yeah.
Feeding cost. This is also another reason why I recommend rabbitry over other projects, poultry projects to be precise.
Yeah.
Rabbits feed on just 150 grams of pellet per day.
So do you weigh the feed when you're giving it,
Yeah,
or you now have that
It's a container that you can actually use, which will help you measure 150 grams.
Okay.
So you find it comparing to chickens with whatnot, because I also have, I think next I'll show you the chickens. Rabbitry is profitable because we're saying for a rabbit to reach 2 kgs, the total cost can just be $2 something or $3 at most if you do it commercial.
Okay. For feed.
For feed alone.
So, besides hay and feeding pellets, what other supplements can I give to the rabbits?
Nothing. Though you can give greens, but it's treats here and there. Bit of vegetables, especially ripe, it's very high in protein. But not recommended, but here and there.
Yeah, and they just like
Correct.
a supplement, just a little bit.
Yes.
You know, as African farmers, we need budget.
Yeah,
we need
you,
to
want, you want to
understand.
try the stuff. But no, I would not commercially. We just recommend pellets and hay.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you know, in every business that you do, obviously there are pros and cons. There are moments that you feel like, "Ish, I need to give up." So I want you to tell our viewers, like, when they start this business, what
should they expect?
The expectations.
What I like most about this project is they need minimum attention. Because these buckets, for example, can have water for like 2 days, depending, of course, on the quantity of the rabbits. So you can just feed in the morning, and then you have to see them the next day.
Okay.
So they need minimum attention. And madzinese, this also compared to the chickens and what other projects, right? Because you just have to monitor what they're doing. They give birth on their own. All you need to monitor is the deaths and the record keeping. So that's minimum attention for me, because it really goes a long way, because it helps you factor in other things which you can do during the day.
Okay.
Right. And it's not yet very common, which is another major advantage. So it means at times, if you do it properly, you can manage your own pricing when it comes to rabbits, because not many people have rabbits. So at times it will be up to you to actually know, say, guys, you know, I've done this, and I've done this. And there's still room for experimenting. Because I'm not boss writer, so you can actually come up with your same own methods. You know, you can try doing this, you can try doing this. Let's say you're not doing it for meat. You can even take the New Zealand red and the chinchilla, cross them, and then you see what they have. Unlike other industries which are already saturated. So this is a fairly new project, especially for us who are doing it commercially. You know, people are just used to doing rabbit as a backyard project. But now
As long as that.
Let's try commercialize this, and to make sure that money through my restaurants, you know, and stuff like that. That should be the goal. Rabbit meat should not be scarce. Yes.
Yeah, that's very true. And now I want to ask about the
Manure.
how do you handle this?
Rabbit manure is very nutritious compared to other manure that you know. This is actually twice as powerful as what can I say? Is cow dung. So this is very good for gardening and whatnot. So of course we now have gutters, but remember when I did these cages, I tried just to fold this, but with our new cages we now make use of some gutters that we use. This was primarily used to capture urine, because the urine can actually be used as a pesticide or as fertilizer. Or it can chase away, you know, the ticks and whatnot. It's very good for that. So in our cages, actually involve the system. That's why we use sheets there, for us to be able to capture the manure and the urine because of their nutritious value, which we can then be transplanted back to the gardening, you know, to make sure that we capture the whole system, you know, from the meat. Even some even make use of the skin, the blue handbags and whatnot. So almost everything about rabbitry can be monetized.
I'm really seeing that.
You can use the manure, you can even use the urine, and then you even use the skin. I'm sure you can see how beautiful it is. Yes, so some even use the skin for handbags and whatnot.
Okay, now I want to mention about the market. Like, how is the market for rabbits?
As mentioned, the fact that you can't find rabbit meat in many places, that's the market. I was with my aunt last week, for example. We got into this area where she's moving in. The first question I was like, are there any schools here? There were no schools in that new environment. So jokingly we said, there are people but there are no schools. So at times it depends. You can complain that there are no schools, or you can start a school. Same concept with rabbit. There's no rabbit meat. So you can either complain that no, we can't find rabbit meat, or you can start your own backyard rabbit farming and grow from there.
Okay, so we have mentioned quite a few things about rabbitry. Now let's come to this project, the poultry.
chickens.
And are these, what are these? Chickens also, or?
This is a simple concept of Jiwuta, which I'm trying, but not yet satisfied. So I'm not really mentioning this. But so also these have to be out now. But so working on a cage. These are chickens. So let me ask you. Let's start from
The other one, okay. So why is it just na? Oh.
So what we have here, this is my concept of chickens. So many people when they come here they get mistaken. They say no, these are they think they're broilers, but no, these are actually road runners. So with these chickens, my concept with chickens, I tried to approach chicken farming differently.
Okay.
Right. So when I started looking into roadrunner farming, because like I said, all I just want is to be organic, right? So this is me just expanding now. But my concept with chickens really is I didn't look for chickens. I didn't go out like what other people are doing now. Whatnot. I was looking for dual purpose chickens. But dual purpose chickens, what I mean is I was looking for chickens that lay a lot of eggs and that grow up quickly. So we're saying we can have two benefits. They grow up quickly. So if you want, you can do them for meat, or they'll be doing eggs a lot. So for example, this compartment, this is called a white leghorn. Let's get in. I want to show you something. So we've been together maybe for the past hour now, but I can guarantee you something in car. As I'm getting in there, right? These give they lay a lot of eggs. So every time I usually get in here,
there's always an egg.
Did you notice?
Yeah. And it's so fresh.
This one root of places. You can hold. What do you is?
If it's hot.
Good. This is what I'm looking at. Every time I come here, I'm sure there are eggs. So what I'm saying is, when I got into chickens, I wasn't impressed about the size. Wow, that's a big chicken. No, I was looking for dual purpose chickens. I'm sure you can testify. You haven't seen a lot of these. This is called a white leghorn breed.
Okay.
Right? The white leghorn, they grow up fast and they lay a lot of eggs. Right. So that's why you can see all these offsprings.
So those are the offsprings for these ones.
These are merely just should be 6 weeks in all that batch. I have over 30 which I got in 6 weeks. From just a capacity of 5 laying chickens, by the way.
Oh, you took them to the incubator?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I go to the incubator like every week.
With the eggs?
Every week. So in every week I'm guaranteed of a grateful. Like I said, this is a concept. So, because now of course we have all these offsprings, but initially this is how I started. Just 5 laying hens and 1 big cock, which you can see. So that was my concept. Productivity, not size. Because I get how people are getting this illusion of wow, in a man's very, I gotta say, but no, when I Google and then you have a Jersey giant chicken. Yeah, this is quite an expensive. I think this is one of the most expensive breeds. I know. It's called a Jersey giant. I'm sure you can have a look from here. And these do fairly well as well. But ideally, what really got me to this breed is, I remember the guy would help me with the chickens. They wanted this question. Because let's say I do regular chickens, the common ones that you know, the road runners.
Yeah.
Which breed would you advise me? He said I'm the Jersey giant. I asked why. Because no, giant. So if you cross, you're likely to get something more and that with quick growth rate. My crossbreeds. So that's how I got to this. But I'll be fair with you, this is quite an expensive breed. Then we got to here. Same concept. I'm still to prove it, by the way, but I'm told the layers, the chicken that we know as layers, come from this breed. It's called a Rhode Island Red. And I'm sure you can tell they even have the same color. So these are very productive chickens. If you Google this chicken, it's actually found on one of the most laying eggs, most laying chickens.
Okay.
They lay a lot of eggs, so they can tally with
The first one, yeah.
So that's where my concept is, and I'm sure this is the most common on the black astrolabe. So initially I was selling these sets of 5 with one jongo, sets of 5 in a jongo.
One jar.
And then all that now
Products.
products of the, you know. But I think my favorite is Rhode Island Red and the one because of productivity. I don't really have to check with minimum side.
You just know that you have eggs.
I know good I'm getting, and I mentioned these are 5 eggs. So this is my expansion project. Mostly it was a result of productivity. It wasn't just a matter of just doing chickens, but I was looking for productive chickens. Correct.
Okay. I hope you viewers you have heard from Chicks Rabbitry, and you have learned a lot that besides rabbitry, he also ventured into poultry farming, chickens.
Yes.
So I would like you to just help the youth out there, to just give them a word of advice about farming.
One thing I like, which I still appreciate about me being a youth, is time. When you have time to innovate. So I think I would just advise the youth, to be innovative. Make use of this time that you have the technology. Research into your passion. I'm a big believer of passion. Invest in what you like and then leave the rest to God. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. We really appreciate the information that you've given us, and I hope you viewers you've learned a lot, same as I have learned a lot, and I really want to try rabbitry farming
Definitely.
also. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel and also follow us on all our social media handles, Instagram, TikTok and LinkedIn, farming_263. Thank you.